What's up, family? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Today we'll be reacting to a video from a YouTuber by the name of Dane Calloway. Some of y'all may know him, some of y'all may not know him, but you might want to get to know him. He's very unbiased and he does a lot of fact checking and he does really extensive research. So we're going to be reacting to a video that was based off the debates between Trump and Harris. And the reason why I wanted to do this is because a lot of the stuff that he's saying in here, I said during my live. And if you didn't catch my live, I'll pin it somewhere up in the corner. And he went super deep on a lot of the things that I spoke on during my live. And we gonna get right to it. But before we do that, make sure y'all hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, turn on that notification bell so you know when I upload. Without further ado, let's get right to it.
Undecided voters got an opportunity to hear both sides of this presidential race last night. And I will be honest, just like I usually am in all of my videos and associated content, this debate was unnecessary. Most of the topics covered in this debate are topics that people already know about, except for a few things that I will cover in this video. I will present facts not presented or mentioned in last night's debate because the ABC moderators of this debate were biased in their perspectives on who they would fact check, which I find unfair. Just a quick heads up, I want to highlight that I am neither a Democrat nor a Republican. This means that you can expect an unbiased perspective in this segment, as well as in any of my other videos, both past and future. Now, moving on to the first question.
Now I'm going to pause it right there. Opportunity economy. There she go again. There she go again. Now, you remember, Trump had something called the opportunity zones. I speak about it all the time on this channel. She's doing what she always do, biting his talking points. That's how you know she's not going to keep any of the promises that she promises that she's going to keep, because she's taking the ideas from him.
Here's the thing. We know that we have a shortage of homes and housing, and the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children, and I intend on extending a tax cut for those families of $6,000, which is the largest child tax credit that we have given in a long time, so that those young families can afford to buy a crib, buy a car seat, buy clothes for their children.
Provide a $6,000 tax cut so that young families can afford to buy a crib, buy a car seat, and buy clothes for their children. I noticed that Trump did not note what his opponent would say during a debate because...
And you know what, though? That's where I feel like Trump dropped the ball. He did not take notes. That way he could address her directly on what she was saying. That's the only thing, that's the only argument I have against Trump. He didn't take notes.
He could have followed up on her statement by asking her a simple question. Like, in his voice, it would have been, what large number of Americans can cribs, car seats, and clothes for their children? Since she needed to clarify who precisely she was referring to, let's assume she is referring to families living in poverty. In most cases, multiple nonprofit organizations and even local state government programs that have been around for years give these items to those families for free. So suppose you want to help people experiencing poverty and include all other Americans. In that case, you don't increase the prices of everything they need to live an everyday worry-free life in America. Including housing and food at the grocery stores, gas, electricity, water, and even their medical bills, which would include their prescription medications. Oh, and taxes in general shouldn't even exist, especially since the majority of the taxes Americans pay are funding the likes of millions of illegal immigrants and their well-being while squatting in communities in America unwarranted. Under her watch as the current vice president. Now, let me remind you that the question asked was, she completely danced around the question and didn't provide a statement, not even remotely answering it. That's manipulating millions of viewers using psychological methods to make them question their sanity or powers of reasoning. I just gave you the definition of gaslighting, and she did much of that through this debate.
And you see what's happening with towns throughout the United States. You look at Springfield, Ohio. You look at Aurora in Colorado. They are taking over the towns. They're taking over buildings. They're going in violently. These are the people that she and Biden led into our country, and they're destroying our country. They're dangerous. They're at the highest level of criminality, and we have to get them out. We have to get them out fast. I created one of the greatest economies in the history of our country. I'll do it again and even better.
And what we have done is clean up Donald Trump's mess. What we have done and what I intend to do is build on what we know are the aspirations and the hopes of the American people. But I'm going to tell you all in this debate tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook, a bunch of lies, grievances, and name calling. What you're going to hear tonight is
that big gulp at the beginning. A bunch of lies. You know she was full of crap.
Mess. What we have done and what I intend to do is build on what we know are the aspirations and the hopes of the American people. But I'm going to tell you all in this debate tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook, a bunch of lies, grievances, and name calling. What you're going to hear tonight is a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president intends on implementing if he were elected again.
And she keeps She
But
keep attaching him to
going
that.
on right now.
She keep attaching
There's
him
how
to
much
that,
cap.
bro.
There's how much cap going on right now. There's how much cap.
The ABC moderator should have fact-checked her statements during her response, but they did not, leaving viewers to believe that Trump endorses Project 2025.
Exactly.
She even alluded to Trump's plan as being Project 2025 twice, without any moderator fact-checking her and correcting her about this false claim.
If Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor that would be monitoring your pregnancies, your miscarriages. I think the American people believe that certain freedoms, in particular the freedom to make decisions about one's own body, should not be made by the government.
Thank you, Vice President Harris.
Well, there she goes again. It's a lie. I'm not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban.
See, as you can see, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.
President Trump will give you a minute here to respond.
Number one, I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. That's out there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. I'm not going to read it. This was a group of people that got together. They came up with some ideas, I guess some good, some bad, but it makes no difference. I have nothing to do. Everybody knows I'm an open book. Everybody knows what I'm going to do. Cut taxes very substantially and create a great economy like I did before.
In my previous video called "This is What They Don't Tell You," I exposed that Kamala's campaign administrator admitted to a CNN reporter that they know Trump is not part of Project 2025, but they will say it anyway. I'll leave the link to this video in the bubble above in the top right corner and the description so that you may watch it once this video concludes. Even though this portion was not necessary to debate, it was done with the female ABC moderator's intended purpose of assisting Kamala with displaying her full support for American mothers.
I'm telling you, bro.
I want to turn to the issue of abortion. President Trump, you've often touted that you were able to kill Roe v. Wade. Last year, you said that you were proud to be the most pro-life president in American history. Then last month, you said that your administration would be great for women and their reproductive rights. In your home state of Florida, you surprised many with regard to your 6-week abortion ban because you initially had said that it was too short. And you said, quote, "I'm going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks." But then the very next day, you reversed course and said you would vote to support the 6-week ban. Vice President Harris says that women shouldn't trust you on the issue of abortion because you've changed your position so many times. Therefore, why should they trust you?
So the reason
Do y'all see the straight up one-sidedness that I was trying to point out that night? Like, they literally did not ask her the same questions they asked him. And I just felt like it was unfair. And that is exactly why he is not doing another debate because he know it's gonna get set up. He'd probably do another debate if it was based on, or like if he had a lot of say-so in it. But other than that, that's the main reason why he's not doing it.
Kamala's previous work as the Attorney General of California proves that she doesn't care about American mothers because she locked up California mothers who cannot take their children to school or missed a few days from school, separating the children from their mothers. Unfortunately, Trump did not mention this, but I did in my previous video called "They Thought We Wouldn't Notice It." The ABC moderator tried to fact check Trump when he said,
Vice President Harris says that women shouldn't trust you on the issue of abortion because you've changed your position so many times. Therefore, why should they trust you?
So the reason I'm doing that vote is because the plan is, as you know, the vote is, they have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, who's doing an excellent job, but the governor before, he said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And that's why I did that, because that predominates, because they're radical. The Democrats are radical in that. And her vice presidential pick, which I think was a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay. And that's not okay with me, hence the vote.
She made a statement as if it were a fact 100%, but it was actually incorrect to a certain degree. She said,
there is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born.
Again, even though that is true to a certain degree in its proper context, there are currently 7 states, including the nation's capital, that have no term limits on abortion. This can be easily checked, but this exposes that the moderators are biased in their questioning and fact-checking. For example, the states of Colorado, Maryland, Minnesota, New Jersey, New Mexico, Oregon, Vermont, and the District of Columbia have no restrictions on any stages of abortion. It's legal up to birth for elective abortions with no gestational restrictions, leaving the decision up to the doctors and the mother and the father.
And let me say, if she's elected, who knows how many states after she's elected is going to adopt this? Come on, that literally means that if the woman is 9 months, she can go through with abortion. Bro, that's not cool. The baby is functioning at this point. I'm just saying, man.
The bottom line is that depending on the situation of the fetus during and after birth in these states that I just mentioned, they will allow a process called perinatal palliative care, which does result in it being legal to.
And they always use these big ass words to try to make it sound like it's justified. But you got to really dig and really do your research to figure out what exactly that means. Perinatal, what?
Quote, life.
Perinatal, palliative. What the I can't even pronounce that.
Limiting, end quote, a baby after it is born, according to a peer-reviewed article written and published by the ACOG.
You should ask, will she allow abortion in the 8th month, 9th month, 7th month?
Come on.
Okay, would you do that? Why don't you ask me that question?
Why don't you answer the question?
She didn't even want to answer it, bro.
Answer the question with your veto.
You could do abortions in the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th
That's
month,
not true.
and probably after birth. Just look at the governor, former governor of Virginia. The governor of Virginia said, we put the baby aside and then we determine what we want to do with the baby.
President Trump, thank you.
We're going to turn now to.
We have heard Trump mention that the former governor agreed with this, and I've since fact-checked this, and he is correct, because the former Virginia governor, Democrat Ralph Northam, endorsed it in 2019, which is probably why they cut Trump off.
There was a very contentious committee hearing yesterday when Fairfax County Delegate Kathy Tran made her case for lifting restrictions on third trimester abortions, as well as other restrictions now in place. And she was pressed by a Republican delegate about whether her bill would permit an abortion even as a woman is essentially dilating, ready to give birth. And she answered that it would permit an abortion at that stage of labor. Do you support her measure and explain her answer?
Yeah, and I wasn't there, Julie, and I certainly can't speak for Delegate Tran, but I would tell you, first thing I would say is this is why decisions such as this should be made by providers, physicians, and the mothers and fathers that are involved. There are, when we talk about third trimester abortions, these are done with the consent of obviously the mother, with the consent of the physicians, more than one physician, by the way.
Why do they always beat around the bush? Them Democrats always do that. They can just say, yeah, I agree with it. And here's why. He got to give an explanation before he tell you his answer. This is ridiculous, man. That alone is enough for me to say, yeah, nah, I ain't rolling with them.
And it's done in cases where there may be severe deformities, there may be a fetus that's non-viable. So in this particular example, if a mother is in labor, I can tell you exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered, the infant would be kept comfortable, the infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired, and then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother. So I think this was really blown out of proportion.
Similar to legislation signed by former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, it is called the Repeal Act, and it was introduced as HB 2491 by Delegate Kathy Tran, a Democrat of Springfield, Virginia, in 2019. Listen to Kathy Tran's statements as the House subcommittee questioned her about this bill.
This bill would remove the following statutes: trap or targeted regulations of abortion providers, removing language classifying facilities that perform 5 or more first trimester abortions per month as hospitals. It would repeal Virginia's informed consent mandatory ultrasound and 24-hour delay. It would repeal the requirement that second trimester abortions be performed in a hospital licensed by the State Department of Health. It would repeal the requirement for 2 additional physicians in cases of third trimester abortions.
Delegate Tran.
Yes, sir.
How late in a pregnancy would your bill apply if a physician was simply willing to certify that the continuation of the pregnancy would impair the mental health of the woman? How late are we talking about?
Well, so the way the suggestion that we've made in the bill is to say it's in the third trimester and at the, with the certification of the physician. So
how late in the third trimester would you be able to do that?
It's very unfortunate that our physicians, witnesses, were not able to attend today to speak specifically.
No, I'm talking about your bill. How late in the third?
There you go again. Dancing around that damn question. They do it every time.
Third trimester, could a physician perform an abortion if he indicated it would impair the mental health of the woman?
Or physical health.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm talking about the mental health.
So, through the third trimester. The third trimester goes all the way up to 40 weeks.
Okay. But to the end of the third trimester.
Yep. I don't think we have a limit in the bill.
So,
look at her. Look at her.
Where it's obvious that a woman is about to give birth. She has physical signs of that she is about to give a birth. Would that still be a point at which she could request an abortion if she was so certified? She's dilating.
Mr. Chairman, that would be a decision that the doctor, the physician, and the woman.
I understand that. I'm asking if your bill allows that.
My bill would allow that, yes.
We're going to turn now to immigration and border security. We know it's an issue that's important to Republicans, Democrats, voters across the board in this country. Vice President Harris, you were tasked by President Biden with getting to the root causes of migration from Central America. We know that illegal border crossings reached a record high in the Biden administration. This past June, President Biden imposed tough new asylum restrictions. We know the numbers since then have dropped significantly. But my question to you tonight is, why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. And let me say that the United States Congress, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came up with a border security bill, which I supported. And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime, trying to do their job. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States. I know there are so many families watching tonight who have been personally affected by the surge of fentanyl in our country. That bill would have put more resources to allow us to prosecute transnational criminal organizations for trafficking in guns, drugs, and human beings. But you know what happened to that bill? Donald Trump got on the phone, called up some folks in Congress, and said, kill the bill. And you know why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem.
Now, let me remind you that the question asked was,
but my question to you tonight is, why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
Kamala disregarded this question and inserted a dilemma that allowed her to segue into blaming Trump for the reason they had open borders under Biden's administration, as if an executive order cannot close the borders immediately under her watch as the current vice president. So that was a deflection tactic. And it also included a distraction that would allow Trump to not respond to the question at hand.
And I'll tell you something, he's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first. And I pledge to you that I will.
Whoever coached her to recite these statements for sound bites perfectly designed it so that Trump would fall right into this trap.
I told you. I told you I spoke on it. I told you she did that and Trump fell. She knew he was going to fall for it and he fell for it. And that's what made the rest of the debate look like trash. I'll never stop believing in Trump because I know the tactics that's going on, but you have to have an open mind to be able to see it. You have to.
Judging this debate, this is where I will give Kamala a point because her team's deflection tactic was executed effectively. However, this also
go watch my live. I said it. I said it.
Means that she is not willing to own up to her mistakes or bad policies that affected America throughout her time in office. The open border policy was on Biden, but it was also on her because Biden assigned this mission to her to create a better immigration process.
What's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject.
And let me say this too, and I'm tired. This is probably going to be my last time stopping. I got to give it up to Biden on the simple fact is he gave it to her on the premises that she is the daughter of immigrant parents. So who better to assign this project to? Somebody who knows about that, but she dropped the ball. She dropped the ball, bro. That's what it was.
what they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
I've seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is
the people on television say my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from
but
television.
The people
I'm taking it from the city manager.
The dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again, the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond to the rest of what you've heard.
You talk about extreme.
Oh my God.
Again, the ABC moderators are fact-checking Trump, but did not fact-check Kamala once during this entire debate. Was Trump wrong for saying what he said?
No.
No. So what was he referring to? I'll play a video for you.
I think it's like kind of odd that like a guy like me has to come out from doing what I do on a daily basis to have fun, because I see what's going on in these streets, and I see you guys just sitting up there in them comfy chairs and suits, and I'm getting out here every day and I'm broadcasting this, and you guys are just sitting up there in suits. Like I really challenge you guys to get out here and do something. These Haitians are running into trash cans. They're running into buildings. They flipping cars in the middle of the street. And I don't know how, like, y'all can be comfortable with this. Like, I don't know, like, who's getting paid from this. I honestly feel like someone's getting paid from it in the background. A bunch of people on a bus getting dropped off at a gas station to come down here. I know a single mom that FaceTimed me tonight, FaceTimed me this morning at the welfare office that really need something. And it's nothing but immigrants over there. And I don't even want to, like, seem like I'm coming down on the immigrants, because it's the people that's bringing them down here. Because wherever they're at, that's what they're used to, bro. They're in the park grabbing up ducks by their neck and cutting their head off and walking off with them and eating them. Like,
I am currently investigating this situation in Ohio to gather more information so that I may present this story to you. I will upload this story in my next video.
I got videos of it too, and I'll clip some in.
What did you do? Why'd you kill the cat? Smile for me. Smile over TV. Go like this. Did you eat that cat? Did you eat it? No, why'd you kill it? Did you guys see all this?
No, we pulled up and she was just laying there with me.
Did you see her eating it? She was eating it?
Yeah, she was.
You call the Humane Society, see if they'll come pick this cat up. It's deceased.
Anything to say?
Oh, well. But bro, it's real out here. It's real. From the Venezuelan gang to these people acting like savages, because that's what they do in their countries, and they don't know what civilized means. So I mean, bro, it's real.
So hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss it.
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president, you said you wanted to ban fracking. Now you don't. You wanted mandatory government buyback programs for assault weapons. Now your campaign says you don't. You supported decriminalizing border crossings. Now you're taking a harder line. I know you say that your values have not changed. So then why have so many of your policy positions changed?
So my values have not changed, and I'm going to discuss at least every point that you've made. But in particular, let's talk about fracking, because we're here in Pennsylvania. I made that very clear in 2020. I will not ban fracking. I have not banned fracking as Vice President of the United States. And in fact, I was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which opened new leases for fracking. My position is that we have got to invest in diverse sources of energy so we reduce our reliance on foreign oil. We have had the largest increase in domestic oil production in history because of an approach that recognizes that we cannot over-rely on foreign oil. As it relates to my values, let me tell you, I grew up a middle-class kid raised by a hardworking mother.
Wait a minute.
Let's not forget the question.
I know you say that your values have not changed, so then why have so many of your policy positions changed?
And you guessed it, she danced around the question by not providing a direct answer, gaslighting this entire debate. Now, the rest of the debate is a lot of Trump's rambling and many rehearsed written statements from Kamala. Trump was right in many cases, and Kamala used a few more false claims against Trump that had been debunked by fact checkers in the past. But the ABC moderators purposely missed the opportunity to correct her.
Let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side.
And you had some very bad people in that group. But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group, excuse me, I saw the same pictures as you did. You had people in that group that were there to protest the taking down of, to them, a very, very important statue and the renaming of a park from Robert E. Lee to another name. And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay?
He bypassed the Afghan government. He negotiated directly with a terrorist organization called the Taliban. The negotiation involved the Taliban getting 5,000 Taliban terrorists released. And get this, and the president at the time invited the Taliban to Camp David, a place of storied significance for us as Americans, a place where we honor the importance of American diplomacy, where we invite and receive respected world leaders. And this former president, as president, invited them to Camp David because he does not again appreciate the role and responsibility of the President of the United States to be commander-in-chief with a level of respect.
If you take a look at that period of time, the Taliban was killing our soldiers, a lot of them, with snipers. And I got involved with the Taliban because the Taliban was doing the killing. That's the fighting force within Afghanistan. They don't bother doing that because, you know, they deal with the wrong people all the time. But I got involved. And Abdul is the head of the Taliban. He is still the head of the Taliban. And I told Abdul, don't do it anymore. You do it anymore, you're going to have problems. And he said, why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. And for 18 months...
Man, that's some gangster stuff, bro. That is some of the most gangster stuff, bro. Like, you keep doing what you're doing. Hand him a picture of his house. You figure that out for yourself. Bro, that's gangster. Trump a big gangster, man, and that's what you need in this country, man, because most country leaders are gangsters. Come on, man. I mean,
we had nobody killed. We did have an agreement negotiated by Mike Pompeo. It was a very good agreement. The reason it was good, it was we were getting out. We would have been out faster than them, but we wouldn't have lost the soldiers. We wouldn't have left many Americans behind, and we wouldn't have left $85 billion worth of brand new, beautiful military equipment behind. And just to finish, they blew it. The agreement said you have to do this, and they didn't do it. They didn't do it. The agreement was terminated by us because they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
I want to move on.
And these people did the worst withdrawal and, in my opinion, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And by the way, that's why Russia attacked Ukraine, because they saw how incompetent she and her boss are.
President Trump, thank you.
We have been weak under Joe Biden. And so our adversaries around the globe, big and small, know that they can push us. Go ahead, Wesley, you go. You can talk.
I'll give you my favorite President Trump story. This is my #1 favorite of all time. When we were negotiating with the Taliban, while President Trump was still the president, President Trump wanted to get out of Afghanistan, but he wanted a conditions-based withdrawal. meaning that you do what we tell you to do, and then we will start pulling troops back slowly as long as you abide by our rules. It's President Trump and Mike Pompeo, and they are talking to Taliban leadership in the room, and they had one translator in the room. President Trump looked at the Taliban leader and said this: I want to leave Afghanistan, but it's going to be a conditions-based withdrawal. And translator translated. And he said, if you harm a hair on a single American, I'm going to kill you. And the translator goes, and Trump goes, tell him.
Yes. Tell him what I said.
Tell him what I said.
Gangsta, boy.
Reached in his pocket, pulled out a satellite photo of the leader of the Taliban's home and handed it to him.
Shut up.
Got up and walked out the room. Do you know for 18 months, not a single American was killed in Afghanistan?
Sure did.
That's the definition of strength. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
And so you could imagine that kind of sentiment being around the world. If we have an embassy in another country,
they like America ain't nothing to play with. It is imperative. There's a lot of people saying they not voting, but this is the reason why. People not looking deep enough. They on the surface level and then they feelings about it. But this is the best way to keep our country safe, by getting him. Yeah, he may not be a black man, or people, everybody may not like him, but bro, he is respected, okay? They don't respect Biden and Kamala. They definitely not gonna respect Kamala if she get in there, because she's a woman. Everybody knows that those third world countries, they see women beneath them. Bro, we doing this country a disservice by putting her in there. Not because she's a woman, but mainly because she is a woman, but not trying to be sexist, but bro, people around the world don't respect women, man, and women don't make rational decisions. That man just showed him a picture. If you really want to go there, man, think about your family. Showed him a picture of his house. You really want to go there, please don't do it, man. I don't want to do it, but if you mess with any of my people, this is what's gonna happen. Come on, man, I'm done.
no one's going to touch it because they're going to be fearful that they'll get a Moab on their head. That's how President Trump rolls.
As I've said at the beginning of this video, this debate was unnecessary because we didn't hear any of Kamala's policies. I blame the ABC moderators for not fact-checking both people to keep things fair, and for not asking the right questions that Americans have when it comes to choosing the right person to lead this country as president.
So that's the end of that video, man. The only thing that I want to say at the end, man, is that there's a lot of us that really think like this, but only a few of us out there that's gonna speak out about it. Just a few. And that's the problem. Everybody's scared to speak their truth about what and how they really feel. That's the main thing that matters, because if we not speaking out about it, then we can't give other people a different perspective. Like, I'm not voting for this man because I'm being fooled. No, I've done my extensive research. Bro, I've heard these stories about Trump and what he's done and how he has got these different country leaders in his pocket and how they understand that he don't play games. Trump doesn't want to do no debate, but he understands this is a part of the campaign. And you have to do that. And this is why he's not doing it no more, because he knows it's biased. It's an unfair playing ground. So he's actually leveling the playing field by not doing another. And I see a lot of liberals saying, oh, he had his butt handed to him. No, he did not, bro. No, he did not. Listen, it became a shit show when she came in aggressive. She was the first one that got aggressive. And just like he said, Trump fell for the aggressiveness. And he started responding with the aggressiveness. And what she do? When he started, she tried to look professional. Jedi mind trick. She tried to play it. She played it on a lot of Americans who believed that. But she couldn't play it on me. She couldn't play it on y'all that listen to me or watch me. Because that's what it was. It was a Jedi mind trick. And they was all in cahoots. Even the hosts. They were in cahoots. It was unfair. It was evil and unfair. I don't like it. I didn't like it then. I told y'all the night of the live I didn't like it. But it was what it was. I ain't gonna rant all night. But like I always say, do what you will with that information. And hey, If you like what you saw, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn on that notification bell so you know when I upload. Get in the notifications, follow all my social media, and remember, challenge the argument and not the person.